I made some refinements to improve clarity and flow. Let me know if you'd like any changes. Customer harassment. Employees with Down syndrome didn't realize Keanu Reeves was watching. Keanu Reeves had always preferred keeping a low profile. Despite his global fame, he enjoyed simple moments, walking the streets, sipping coffee in small cafes, and observing the world without being recognized. One afternoon, dressed casually in jeans and a hoodie, he entered a small diner in Los Angeles. The place had a warm atmosphere, decorated with pictures of smiling employees, many of whom had Down syndrome. Keanu had read about this diner before, a place that prided itself on hiring people with disabilities and giving them meaningful jobs. He found a quiet corner and ordered a black coffee. As he waited, he observed the employees at work. A young man named Jake, who had Down syndrome, was taking orders enthusiastically, while a girl named Lisa served food with a bright smile. Their energy was infectious, and their joy filled the space. Then the mood shifted. A man in a business suit walked in, his expression impatient. He ordered loudly, sighing as Jake carefully wrote down the details. "Hurry up, kid. It's not rocket science," the man snapped. Jake's hands trembled slightly, but he kept his smile. "I'm sorry, sir. I'll do my best." Keanu's gaze darkened as he watched the man's irritation grow. Lisa approached with the order, but as she placed the plate on the table, she accidentally spilled a little water. The man groaned in frustration. "Unbelievable. You people shouldn't even be working here." Silence filled the diner. The employees' smiles faded. Other customers looked on, uncomfortable but unsure how to react. Keanu had seen enough. He stood up and approached the man's table. "Hey," Keanu said, his voice calm but firm. The man turned. "What do you want?" Keanu smiled slightly, his tone unwavering. "I want you to leave." The man scoffed. "Excuse me?" Keanu stepped closer. "You heard me. These employees are doing their best, and all you've done is humiliate them. That's not okay." The man was about to argue until he looked at Keanu properly. His face paled in recognition. "Wait, Keanu raised an eyebrow. "Does it matter?" The diner had fallen completely silent. A few customers had even pulled out their phones, recording the moment. The man hesitated, then huffed, grabbing his briefcase. "Whatever. I don't have time for this." He stormed out, the door slamming behind him. A moment of stillness passed, then the diner erupted into quiet applause. Lisa and Jake beamed. "Thank you, sir," Jake said excitedly. "You're a real hero." Keanu chuckled. "Nah, man, you guys are the real heroes." He paid for his coffee, leaving a generous tip. Before heading out, he turned back to the employees. "Keep smiling, okay? You're doing an amazing job." That day, the diner's employees learned that kindness always wins, and sometimes heroes walk among us, dressed in hoodies and jeans. Let me know if you'd like any tweaks. Here's a continuation of the story. Customer harassment. Employees with Down syndrome didn't realize Keanu Reeves was watching. Part 2. As Keanu Reeves stepped outside the diner, a soft breeze carried the scent of fresh coffee and warm pastries. He adjusted his hoodie and glanced back through the window, watching Lisa and Jake laughing again. The moment of tension had passed, replaced by an atmosphere of warmth and appreciation. Just as he was about to walk away, he heard a voice behind him. "Excuse me, sir?" Keanu turned to see the diner's manager, an older woman with kind eyes and a gentle smile. She wiped her hands on her apron as she approached. "I just wanted to say thank you," she said sincerely. Not everyone would stand up for them like that. Keanu shrugged. "They shouldn't have to deal with people like that. They're doing a great job." The woman nodded. "They really are. And they love it here. Every day they come in with so much enthusiasm, ready to make people smile. It means a lot that someone like you noticed." Keanu smiled. "It's not about who I am. It's about what's right." The manager hesitated for a moment, then gestured toward the diner. "Would you like to meet the rest of the staff? They'd be thrilled." Keanu thought about it. He preferred to stay out of the spotlight, but these employees deserved something special. "Sure," he said. Inside, the diner erupted with excitement as the employees realized who had just defended them. Some gasped, others clapped, and Jake practically bounced in place. "No way, you're John Wick," he exclaimed. Keanu laughed. "I guess so." Lisa giggled. "You're even cooler in real life." They gathered around him, asking questions, sharing their favorite movies, and telling him how much they loved their jobs. Keanu took time to talk to each of them, making sure they all felt seen and valued. Then, Jake shyly pulled out a small notebook. "Would you, sign this?" Keanu grinned. "Of course." As he signed, he added a note. "Keep being awesome." After spending some time chatting and even helping Lisa serve a few customers, to everyone's delight, Keanu finally prepared to leave. Before he walked out, he turned back one last time. "You guys keep spreading kindness, okay?" Jake gave him a salute. "You got it, Mr. Wick," Keanu laughed, shaking his head as he stepped back onto the street. As he walked away, he didn't need cameras or headlines. He didn't need recognition. He just needed to know that kindness had won today. And in that small diner, it had. Would you like to continue even further, maybe with a twist or a follow-up scene? Customer harassment. Employees with Down syndrome didn't realize Keanu Reeves was watching, Part 3. As Keanu walked down the street, a sense of quiet satisfaction filled him. He had done what anyone should do, stand up for kindness. But just as he was about to turn the corner, he heard hurried footsteps behind him. "Mr. Reeves, wait." He turned to see the diner's manager again, slightly out of breath. This time she wasn't alone. A middle-aged man in a suit stood beside her. Unlike the rude customer from earlier, this man had a warm expression. Keanu stopped. "Everything okay?" The manager nodded. "More than okay. This is Mr. Thompson. He's the owner of the diner." Thompson extended a hand, which Keanu shook. "I just heard what happened inside," he said. "I can't tell you how much I appreciate what you did for my employees." Keanu shrugged. "They're good people. They didn't deserve that." Thompson sighed. "Unfortunately, this isn't the first time something like this has happened. We get plenty of customers who love and support our staff, but every now and then there are others." Keanu's jaw tightened. "That's not right." Thompson hesitated before continuing. "I've been trying to expand this diner, hire more people with disabilities, give them opportunities, but funding has been tough. Investors don't always see the value in it." Keanu listened intently. He didn't like to throw his wealth around, but something about this felt different. "What if I help?" Thompson's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" Keanu glanced back at the diner where Jake and Lisa were watching excitedly through the window. "I mean, I'd like to donate," Keanu said simply. "Help you expand, hire more people, maybe even open a second location. The world needs more places like this." The manager gasped. "Are you serious?" Thompson's voice wavered. "Mr. Reeves, that would be life-changing." Keanu smiled. "Then let's do it." Months later, the grand opening of the second diner was a sight to behold. Employees, families, and supportive customers gathered to celebrate. The walls were decorated with pictures of smiling workers, just like the first location. And at the heart of it all, Jake and Lisa, now senior employees, helped train new staff. As Keanu walked in, the entire place erupted into applause. Lisa ran up to him. "You really did it. You made this happen." Keanu grinned. "Nah, you guys did." Jake handed him an apron. "You ready to work, Mr. Wick?" Keanu laughed and tied the apron around his waist. "Let's do this." And that day, he wasn't a movie star. He wasn't an action hero. He was just a guy helping out, proving that kindness, when shared, can create something truly extraordinary. The end. What do you think? Would you like a different direction or maybe an epilogue? Customer harassment. Employees with Down syndrome didn't realize Keanu Reeves was watching, Part 4. The grand opening of the second diner had been a massive success, but Keanu Reeves wasn't done yet. The story of his involvement had gone viral, making headlines across the country. What started as a simple act of kindness had turned into a movement. Celebrities, business owners, and everyday people wanted to support businesses that hired individuals with disabilities. One evening, as Keanu sat in the original diner sipping his coffee, Jake and Lisa approached him, looking excited. "Mr. Reeves," Jake said, practically bouncing on his feet. "Guess what?" Keanu chuckled. "What's up?" Lisa handed him a tablet. "A super-famous billionaire saw what you did, and he wants to meet you." Keanu raised an eyebrow as he looked at the screen. The article read, "Tech mogul Elijah Carter wants to partner with Keanu Reeves to expand inclusive workplaces." Keanu's eyes narrowed slightly. He knew of Elijah Carter, a billionaire in the tech industry, known for his cutting-edge innovations, but also for being incredibly private. If Carter was reaching out, it meant something big. Before Keanu could react, his phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. Curious, he answered. Hello. A deep, confident voice spoke. Mr. Reeves, I hope I'm not disturbing your evening. Keanu smiled. Depends. Who's this? Elijah Carter. I believe we have something important to discuss. Keanu leaned back in his seat. I hear you're interested in what we're doing here. I'm more than interested, Carter replied. I want to take this nationwide. Lisa and Jake exchanged excited looks as Keanu listened. I admire what you've done, Carter continued. Most people talk about inclusion, but you took action. I want to fund the expansion of these diners across the country, maybe even globally. What do you think? Keanu was silent for a moment, letting the weight of the offer sink in. This isn't just about opening more locations, is it? Keanu asked. Carter chuckled. You're sharp. No, it's about something bigger. I want to create a training program, a real opportunity for people with disabilities to enter the workforce, not just in diners, but in all industries. Keanu glanced at Jake and Lisa, who were watching him expectantly. This could change thousands, maybe millions of lives. All right, Keanu said. Let's meet. The meeting that changed everything. A week later, Keanu arrived at Carter Industries, a massive tech headquarters in Silicon Valley. Carter himself greeted him in the sleek glass-walled boardroom, his presence as commanding as his reputation suggested. I don't waste time, Reeves, Carter said, sliding a folder across the table. This is my proposal. Keanu opened it. Inside was a detailed plan for a nationwide initiative called the Bright Future Program, designed to train and employ individuals with disabilities across multiple industries. Restaurants, tech companies, retail, everywhere. This isn't charity, Carter explained. This is an investment in untapped talent. People with disabilities are some of the hardest working individuals I've seen, and yet so many companies overlook them. We're about to change that. Keanu studied the document. It was ambitious, but it was exactly what the world needed. He looked up and smiled. Let's do it. 1 year later, the first Bright Future Training Center opened in Los Angeles, offering job training for people with disabilities in various fields. More than just a diner, it became a movement, proving that inclusion wasn't just possible, it was essential. Jake, now a spokesperson for the program, stood proudly on stage at the grand opening, speaking to a crowd of thousands. I used to think my dreams were small, Jake said into the microphone. But now I see they were never small. The world just needed to see what we could do. The audience erupted into applause, and Keanu, standing beside him, clapped proudly. As cameras flashed and news outlets covered the event, Keanu didn't care about the fame or the headlines. He only cared about one thing. Kindness had won again, and this time the whole world was watching. The end, or just the beginning. What do you think? Should we take it even further? Maybe introduce a new conflict or challenge? Customer harassment. Employees with Down syndrome didn't realize Keanu Reeves was watching. Part 5. The Bright Future Training Center had become a global phenomenon. Companies around the world were now rethinking their hiring policies, inspired by what Keanu Reeves and Elijah Carter had started. More importantly, people with disabilities were getting the opportunities they had always deserved. But with success came challenges. One evening, as Keanu sat in the original diner enjoying a quiet cup of coffee, his phone buzzed. It was Elijah Carter. We have a problem, Carter said, his voice uncharacteristically tense. Keanu frowned. What's going on? There's an anonymous group trying to discredit Bright Future, Carter explained. They're spreading fake stories claiming the program is just a PR stunt, that the employees aren't actually doing the work. Keanu's jaw tightened. Who's behind it? We don't know yet, Carter admitted, but they're powerful, and they're trying to shut us down. Keanu took a deep breath, looking around the diner at Jake, Lisa, and the other employees. He had seen their hard work firsthand. He knew their dedication. He wasn't about to let anyone take this away from them. All right, Keanu said. Time to fight back. Unmasking the enemy, Keanu and Carter immediately launched an investigation. Using Carter's tech resources, they traced the misinformation campaign back to a shadowy corporate group with ties to a massive fast food chain, one that had been losing business since Bright Future's success. They see us as a threat, Carter explained. They'd rather tear us down than change their own ways. Keanu's eyes darkened. Then we'll make sure the truth comes out. They worked together to release behind-the-scenes footage showing bright future employees excelling at their jobs. Videos of Jake training new hires, Lisa leading customer service workshops, and hundreds of other success stories flooded social media. Celebrities and influencers joined in, sharing their support. Then Keanu decided to take things one step further. He challenged the CEO of the fast food chain to visit a bright future diner and work a shift. It was a bold move. The media went wild. Would the CEO accept, or would he prove that his company had no interest in real inclusivity? The day everything changed. A week later, under intense public pressure, the CEO reluctantly agreed. Cameras followed as he arrived at a bright future diner and was paired with Jake for training. At first, the CEO looked uncomfortable, clearly out of his element, but as the shift went on, something changed. He watched as Jake flawlessly managed customer orders, as Lisa handled a rush-hour crowd with ease. By the end of the shift, the CEO was quiet. Then, in front of the cameras, he did something unexpected. He turned to Jake and said, "I was wrong. You guys are incredible." The crowd erupted into applause. The moment went viral overnight. A week later, the fast food giant announced they would be partnering with Bright Future to reform their hiring practices and open training centers in their own restaurants. Keanu and Carter had won, not through retaliation, but through proof that kindness and inclusion weren't just good morals. They were good business. 1 year later, Bright Future had expanded beyond anything Keanu had imagined. It was now in 30 countries, training thousands of employees with disabilities and setting a new global standard for inclusive workplaces. At the grand opening of the 100th Bright Future Training Center, Jake stood before an audience of thousands, with Keanu and Carter beside him. "People used to underestimate us," Jake said, "but now they see the truth. We were never the ones who needed to change. The world did." As the crowd roared with applause, Keanu smiled. This had started as a simple cup of coffee, a quiet moment in a diner, but now it had become a revolution, and it was only the beginning. The end, or a new beginning. What do you think? Should we keep going, maybe explore a new challenge or twist?